Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. This time, we're going to be jumping headfirst into the Warhammer 40K universe.
Ooh, exciting.
It is. Specifically, we're looking at the Black Legion, as depicted in Talon of Horus
Okay.
by Dembski-Bowden. And we're doing this because you, our awesome listeners, sent in some excerpts. And let me tell you, what I've seen so far, it's wild. We're going to be talking about the fall of the Sons of Horus, how the Black Legion rises up and all that through the eyes of this sorcerer.
A sorcerer.
Yeah, Iskender Khayan.
Okay, I'm intrigued already.
I know, right? There's just something about the Black Legion. Their ambition, it's massive. Like, they're not just trying to grab a chunk of space. Nah, they want to take down the whole Imperium.
They want to remake everything in their image.
That's the thing, though, right? When you read these excerpts, it's kind of twisted, but they see themselves as the rightful heirs
Oh, wow.
to the Imperium. Like, they think they're carrying on the Emperor's legacy. What they're doing is, like, a crusade to get back what was taken from them way back in the Horus heresy.
Okay, so they've got this whole narrative, this justification.
And that's what makes them so dangerous.
Yeah.
They tap into this, like, disillusionment with the Imperium, how strict it is, how brutal it can be.
Right.
And speaking of brutal, the Black Legion, their tactics, from what I've read, they're ruthless, efficient, like a well-oiled, chaotic machine. They use crazy tech and some pretty messed up sorcery to get what they want.
Can you give me an example? I mean, what are we talking about here?
Well, there's this whole thing about the Canticle City,
Okay.
the way they attack it. They've got overwhelming firepower, brilliant strategies, and then there's this machine spirit, Itzara.
A machine spirit.
Itzara, and they use her power to take down the city's defenses.
So wait, they're using a city's defenses against itself? That's smart.
It's insane. It just shows you how far they'll go to win. But Itzara, that's a whole other conversation. Khayan, the sorcerer, he's the one who binds this powerful entity. I mean, what do you make of that?
Binding a machine spirit, especially one that sounds as powerful as Itzara, that's a huge gamble. They're notoriously difficult to control. It's like they have their own minds, their own goals. Trying to control something like that, that's like trying to tame a hurricane.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. But let's go back to Khayan for a sec. He's from the Thousand Suns, right?
Yeah, the Thousand Suns. They're known for their psychic powers.
And their tragic fate. Most of them got hit with the rubric, turned into these soulless husks. But Khayan, he escaped that. How do you think all that, his background, plays into his role in the Black Legion?
I think his past definitely shapes him. I mean, he's one of the few Thousand Suns who still, him.
Yeah.
That experience, the loss, it's going to fuel his drive, his ambition, and probably his thirst for knowledge, too.
Totally. And then there's that bond he has with the demon wolf Gyre.
Ah, yes, Gyre. That adds another layer to things.
It's like she represents the pure, raw power of the warp. Always there, influencing his thoughts, his actions, pushing him toward more and more power.
That's a dangerous combination.
And to top it off, there's Nefertari, his Eldar bloodword. What's her deal?
Nefertari. She's a mystery wrapped in an enigma, seriously. She's loyal to Khayan, that's clear. But why? What are her motives? I think she's got her own plans, maybe even using Khayan to get what she wants.
So Khayan's surrounded by all these players, each with their own game. It's not just one big, bad group, the Black Legion. It's like a collection of individuals, each with their own desires, ambitions, and ways of getting what they want.
It's like a powder keg waiting to explode.
Right. And speaking of explosions, we got to talk about the 41st millennium itself.
What about it?
The excerpts, they paint a picture of this galaxy at war. Humanity's on the brink, and chaos is just everywhere. This warp thing, it's not just some idea. It's real, it's messy, and it's messing things up.
It's a reflection of everything, all the thoughts, the emotions swirling around. It warps reality, literally.
It's kind of like when they're searching for that downed ship, probably Abaddon's flagship, the Vengeful Spirit.
Oh yeah, the Vengeful Spirit.
Acid storms, frozen wastelands. They don't care. They're determined to get that ship back. It's not just a ship, is it?
Not at all. It's a symbol of their past, their fall from grace, and their absolute determination to come back stronger than ever, to reshape everything according to their vision. It's pretty intense when you think about it.
And they kind of make a statement with their attack on the Canticle City, don't they?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That victory, it makes them a major player. It shows everyone, especially the other Chaos Legions, that Abaddon, he's not messing around. They're a force to be reckoned with.
It's not just about conquering stuff. It's about image, showing everyone they're back and they mean business. And this is just the start.
Oh yeah, just the beginning. Their plan, it's much bigger than just one city.
That's where things get really juicy. And trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. We'll be back soon to keep digging into Talon of Horus and see what the Black Legion does with this newfound power. But for now, what's something you want our listener to think about?
I'd say think about why. Why do these characters do what they do? What made them turn to chaos? What are they hoping for? What scares them? And what's going to happen because of their choices? Not just to them, but to the entire galaxy.
Back again for more Talon of Horus. We're really getting into the thick of it with the Black Legion and Kion's story.
You know what really gets me about these excerpts is how the warp isn't just this, abstract thing. It really gets under your skin. It affects people, physically changes them.
Yeah. It's like their bodies reflect their choices, their desires, all that dark stuff, almost like the warp's holding up a mirror.
Right. And it's all tied to those choices. Your decisions have real physical consequences. Makes you wonder about free will, how much control do we really have?
Makes you think. Could the warp actually twist you into something else based on what you do, what you lean towards?
It's a scary thought. And it's not just individuals. The excerpts even hint that the warp messes with technology, even with reality itself. Nothing's safe. Nothing stays the same.
So in the 41st millennium, everything's in flux.
Pretty much. Which makes the Black Legion's whole deal even crazier. They're not just using the warp, they're trying to manipulate it, control it.
Talk about playing with fire. And speaking of risky moves, their attack on the Canonical City, we left off with them going in, guns blazing, using Itzara to flip the city's defenses.
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine it? The vengeful spirit, this giant warship from another age, just looming over the Canonical City. It's a symbol of their comeback. And the battle itself, pure chaos, ships smashing together, sonic weapons tearing everything apart, demon engines just unleashing hell.
So much chaos. What's Kion doing in all this? Is he just watching?
Oh no, he's right there in the middle of it all, slinging spells left and right, summoning warp fire, shielding his allies, even dueling other sorcerers. He's like a conductor, leading the orchestra of destruction.
But you can tell from the excerpts that he's still got a lot to learn.
He's powerful, but he's still growing.
Yeah.
And the warp, it's seductive. It whispers promises of power, knowledge, even destiny.
It's like he's torn between his ambition and his conscience, tempted by the warp, but knowing the price he'll pay.
Exactly. And Jair, she doesn't help. She embodies that raw warp energy, always pushing him to go further, take bigger risks.
He's always one step away from falling over the edge. So, do they take the city? What happens to the Canonical City?
They win, but it's a brutal victory. The excerpts describe it as a wasteland, just ruins and death and the echoes of those sonic weapons. It's chilling.
Victory in the 41st millennium isn't pretty. But this win, what does it mean for the Black Legion?
It changes everything. They've taken the stronghold. They're a real power in the Eye of Terror. Everyone else sees that. It's like they're saying, Abaddon's in charge and you better watch out.
A power move. More than just land or resources, it's about their reputation.
Right. Even other Chaos warlords start joining Abaddon. They see his strength, his ambition.
So it's just the first step.
Oh, yeah. This is the start of something huge. He's not just conquering, he's uniting all these Chaos forces.
Bringing them all under his banner. But what about Kion? Is he really all in on this? Or does he have his own plans?
Good question. Throughout these excerpts, you see him wrestling with his doubts, his loyalty. He's a skilled sorcerer, a valuable asset, but it feels like he's playing his own game, like he's trying to survive in this world of chaos politics.
Always thinking, planning, maneuvering. And we can't forget Nefertari. Where does she fit into this?
Ah, Nefertari. She's a shadow, always there, but never revealing her true self. The excerpt suggests she knows a lot about the warp, maybe more than Kion. It's like she's guiding him, subtly, towards some unknown fate.
Like she's playing a whole other game, with stakes even higher than what we're seeing.
Exactly. Her presence just adds to the mystery. In the 41st millennium, nothing is what it seems, and everyone's hiding something.
It's a reminder that we're only getting a glimpse of this huge, complex story. A story full of ambition, betrayal, and the constant threat of chaos.
And as we keep diving into Talon of Horus, we're going to explore all those threads, the mysteries of Kion, Nefertari, and what the Black Legion will become.
But before we move on, what should our listener be thinking about?
Watch the relationship between Kion and Abaddon. Is it real loyalty or just a deal, each using the other? And what about Nefertari? Is she good or bad? The answers might surprise you.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been through a lot with the Black Legion, haven't we? Their rise, Kion's journey, it's wild.
Yeah, and we can't forget how the warp just oozes into everything.
Like it gets into your head, changes how you see the universe.
Right. One thing that really stood out to me in these excerpts, it's all the talk about prophecy, visions, omens, like whispers of what's supposed to happen. makes you think, can anyone really choose their path in this universe?
It's a tough one. On the one hand, you see these characters fighting for their goals, trying to control their destinies. But then there's this feeling like they're all just puppets playing out a story that's already written.
Yeah, and that tension, you really see it with Abaddon. The excerpts, they hint at this huge plan he has for the Black Legion. It's way more than just getting back at the Imperium.
Like he's aiming to rewrite the whole galaxy, start a new chapter.
Exactly. He thinks he can unite all the chaos forces, bring order to all that chaos.
That's a pretty big goal, to say the least.
And it is, and it makes you wonder, what would the galaxy look like if he actually pulled it off?
The 41st millennium's already a rough place.
Yeah.
What happens when you throw a chaos empire into the mix?
It's a scary thought, but let's not forget about Kion. Where does he stand in all of this? Is he really following Abaddon, or does he have something else in mind?
That's the big question, isn't it? Throughout these excerpts, you see him thinking, plotting, always one step ahead. He's a powerful sorcerer, no doubt, but a cunning strategist, too.
And let's not forget Jair. She's always there, pushing him, tempting him with power.
Like a devil on his shoulder, whispering in his ear.
It's a balancing act for him, trying to control his ambition, his power.
And then there's Nefertari. Still so mysterious.
Right. Always lurking in the background. Her motives, who knows. But the excerpts, they suggest she's got a deep understanding of the Wharf. Maybe she's the one pulling the strings.
Maybe she's playing a much bigger game than we can even imagine.
It's like we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg, a glimpse into this huge, messed up universe. Ambition, betrayal, chaos lurking around every corner. So, as we wrap up our deep dive into Talon of Horus, what's the main thing you want our listener to take away?
That's a good question. What would you say?
I think the biggest lesson here is that in the 41st millennium, nothing is simple. There's no good or bad, just shades of gray. Everyone's got their own motivations, their own darkness. Even the good guys can get corrupted.
It's a world where survival means making tough choices, choices that have big consequences. And it makes you question everything you think you know about power, loyalty, even reality itself.
So to our listener, as you keep exploring the 41st millennium, remember to look deeper. Question everything and don't be afraid of the complexity. This universe, it's dark, it's brutal, but it's also incredibly fascinating.
Absolutely. And that's what we love about it. There's always more to discover, more to learn. Keep those questions coming and keep diving deep. We'll be back soon with another Deep Dives. But until then, take care and stay curious.